I'm working with the Wired project, which actually ships with Sony Music Studio 8. If you're working with me, load that up so that we've got a similar screen. In this video we'll be looking at assignable effects, which are often called effect sends. This means that various tracks can be sent across to the one effects unit, and this saves a lot of processing power on the part of the computer, which means that you can add more effects to more tracks without the whole thing crashing on you. It's a very good thing to use when you want to have a similar type of effect on a whole variety of tracks. Another thing to remember is that assignable effects in this program only work on audio tracks. MIDI tracks only have insert effects, and there are no assignable effects for the MIDI. If you want to add further effects, you just need to chain up on a particular insert effect. So that's something that's very important for you to remember. So now let's add an assignable effect to a variety of tracks. First of all, go to Insert, go to Assignable Effects, choose your effect that you want, let's say reverb, and this can be either from the Sony effects or from the third-party effects that you've got. Double click, go OK, that'll come up. All of these effects have one thing in common, which is the right-hand side slider. This shows you just how much sound coming from the effects unit is original signal and how much is effects signal. Because you've got multiple tracks coming across into the effects box, you want to have just the effects coming out. Otherwise you'll start loading up with a lot of volume from all the tracks being bussed across to this effects unit, and you may end up with a volume problem right at the master track. So to avoid that sort of problem, lift this up to 100, and that way only the effects will come from the effects sent. When you add an effect sent, that will become visible in the mixer. On the left hand side you've got the Assignable Effects button. If you put that on, the effects track will show up. If you need to access that effect, this is the best way to do it. And press the effects button and you're back where you were in the first place. Let's look at some tracks we can send to this now. For example, we've got that guitar track. We can solo that and we can select it. And the effects track shows on the bottom there. On the right of that slider, which is the amount of signal you can send to the effects unit, you've got a button saying Post and Pre. Post means that the amount of signal sent to the effects unit is controlled by the slider. If it's Pre, it means that it's the full signal goes across and you've lost slider control. So Pre is a way of actually hearing and auditioning something very quickly without having to use the slider. Once you know what you've got, the slider is the best way to control the amount of signal going to the effects box. Okay, let's have a listen to it. Let's change it a bit. Now without that, there is a difference, isn't there? So that you've got other tracks that you want to put onto it, and now's the time to do it. Let's see what we've got in terms of other audio. And again, select the track, open it up. Gives you something of a wash, doesn't it? Now you can do that with any number of audio tracks, directly bussing them across to that effects unit. Again, remember you can only do that with audio and not with the MIDI. Each MIDI track has its own insert effects. You need to use that instead of an assignable effects. Catch you next time.